poor, and then every slave owner is demolished to the poverty that he so richly deserves.
That very well may be the outcome, but not before fighting more bloody and more terrible than anything we have witnessed so far.
But what are we fighting for? Joshua once told me that politicians, generals, and soldiers are all fighting for different reasons. I did not know what he meant at the time, but I do now. In the beginning, they told us the war was to preserve the Union. And then, with the Emancipation Proclamation, it made it a war to end slavery. The rebels say that the war is about economics and constitutional rights. Hell, the only thing they do agree on is that loyalty and honor compel them to fight. Forgive me, sir. I may be a naive woman, but the loyalty and honor of so many noble soldiers makes it difficult for me to understand.
I may look like my brother, but you sound like him.
Well, Joshua knew what he was fighting for. How did this become your fight?
I am an engineer by trade. Like Joshua. When I finished my schooling, I wanted to work on railroads. A friend of father's was the head of the Pennsylvania Railroad and knew that their former chief engineer, Isaac Trimble, was looking for a bright young man to help him lay the track for the new Baltimore and Potomac line. Introductions were made, and as fate would have it, I was that bright young man. I learned my trade from Isaac Trimble. He's a West Pointer, you know. He served in the old army before he became a railroader. In the 2 years that I worked with him, we built bridges, laid track, and brought a railroad to life, till April of '61. After Fort Sumter, most citizens of Maryland thought their state would secede. The governor directed Mr. Trimble to burn all the bridges north of the Susquehanna River to keep the federal army from invading. So, we burned the bridges we had built. We burned the Bush River Bridge and the Gunpowder Bridge, and we tore down every telegraph pole from Baltimore to Perryville. It took us only 2 days to destroy what took us 2 years to build. And it was senseless destruction. When Maryland did not secede after all, Trimble returned to his native Virginia and became Major General Trimble. He asked me to serve on his staff, and after all he had done for me, I could not refuse. My loyalty to a man who taught me to be an engineer superseded my loyalty to a country that prevented people from exercising its constitutional rights. And honor compelled me to fight alongside a man I trusted, rather than fight for a government that took up arms against its own people. I did not leave my country in her hour of need. It left me. That is how this became my fight. And fight I did. General Trimble led a brigade under Stonewall Jackson. I was with him at the Valley Campaign at Manassas, and I fought by his side at Gettysburg.
But what happened at Gettysburg?
In the last days of June, General Lee sent the cavalry under J.E.B. Stuart to ride around the Army of the Potomac and report on its position before we